Hey everyone, Jen here, and it is another Tutorial Tuesday. And this week I'm going to be introducing you to our new bag that is coming out this Friday. It is called the Hipster Bag, and it is also Fat Quarter Friday. So I wanted to go ahead and show you those fabrics that are coming. I want to discuss the bag and some of the nuances of the bag before it comes out Friday. We will have a full tutorial on Friday for the actual bag, but today we're just going to discuss some of the points that I just want to highlight that might take a little bit too much time in the full tutorial, and then also give you information that you'll know before you purchase the bag. So before we get into the bag, I just want to show you the fabric. So this Friday, again, is Fat Quarter Friday, and we are featuring Flower Bloom by Art Gallery Fabrics. And this fabric is super fun. Parker lost her mind when she saw it. If you know that all of the, what I consider 70s-ish, 60s prints, retro prints are still super popular, and this line is so great. So my favorite print is actually the sun and clouds, and then Parker's is the roller skates, and everything coordinates obviously with, we have a mane there and some groovy flowers. We will have Fat Quarter bundles, and then I went ahead and I ordered of these three prints because they were by far my favorite. We have extra yardage of these three prints that you can buy. I think we're going to do by the quarter yard. So you can quarter, half, 3/4, full yard. And then I ordered two solids that also coordinate from Art Gallery. So if you want to add some solids for your liners or whatnot, we'll have those available as well. And the file, so what we do is when we have the Fat Quarter Friday, we always have a file that you receive if you buy the bundle. And the file that we're going to have is another new bag that is coming Friday, which we're calling the Retro Sun Bag. So it's going to come in a size 3 or a size 5. These will be separate designs because of the sizing, but it fits your sunglasses. We also have some quilting, some tulip quilting coming. It's a little hard to see on the print, but that'll be also available. But the free file will be one of these two size bags when you buy the bundle, and then the full size hipster. So, all right, now that we've discussed the fabrics and you've seen them, let's move into the bag. All right, so here are two samples of the hipster bag. Both of these are in the size 5 zipper. It will come in a size 3 as well, a separate design file. These are two of the fabrics that I just showed you. So there's going to be 4 sizes included. 6x10, 7x11, 8x12, 9x14 size hoops. So that is not the design file size. Those are the hoop sizes that you will need. Bernina users, the 6x10 might fit in your, I believe it's technically a 6x8, 6x10 midi hoop. That one, the oval one, fits kind of a weird size. So I would check the measurements, but because this curves at the end, you might actually be able to fit this size in that hoop. So check that before. So make sure you are reading the size chart before you purchase. A 5x7 hoop people and 8x8 only are not going to be able to make this bag. The bags in those sizes were just way too small and would not hold anything. So 4 sizes, 2 size zippers. This can be made in fabric, which I have shown here. And then it also can be made in pliable vinyl, which this is a sample in vinyl. So this vinyl is printed vinyl, and it is from Zipper Valley. All of my webbing is from Zipper Valley, and the size 5 zippers and all of that. So I'll link all of those in the supply list on Friday. So it can be made with vinyl. You want to make sure that you use a pliable vinyl, one that can be folded over, because on the sides here, the vinyl has to be folded over. So you're not going to want to make this out of any kind of heavy glitter, marine, like even promo. It has to be a pliable promo color, but a lot of the prints that are out now, especially from obviously Zipper Valley, can be used. So just check your weight. And obviously this is all going to depend on what your machine can handle bulk wise, which will be, the bulk of it will be on the sides here. And then around the bag is just 2 layers. So, but here, you know, with the fold over, you have a little bit more thickness. So it can be made out of fabric, canvas, waxed canvas, the waterproof Oxford, which I believe Lisa used, Dayflex by Zipper Valley. So this was tried in a ton of different fabrics. So have fun with that. The front zipper makes it easy to mix fabrics. Our file is a stitch and flip design, but you can, if you're going to use vinyl, you could leave the top here just butted up to the zipper, but the sides will have to flip. Okay, so I want to talk about interfacing. So if you're going to use vinyl, which is what this one is, you will not need any interfacing. And I used a cotton liner. I find that this is sturdy enough. This is the largest size, the 9x14 hoop. So this is the size that I would use for myself, or the 8x12. No interfacing, just poly mesh stabilizer. You're going to want to use poly mesh or some other form of lightweight cutaway. I would not use tearaway because it's going to stay in the bag and you're going to hear it and all that, but poly mesh, and you're going to follow the instructions to cut out the cutaway from your zipper is totally fine with vinyl. You need nothing else. You could even, on the larger 2 sizes, if you wanted, you could easily add batting to this. It was very pliable. The only, issue could be the 2 corners pushing them out, but my machine handles that beautifully. My machine handles like the webbing and everything. So if you're going to use fabric, I would personally use one or the other. So if you're going to use interfacing, especially on the smaller 2, I would only use interfacing, or do a combination of interfacing on the front and maybe batting on the back. I would not add batting and interfacing. It really does not need both. Unless your fabric is just really not stable or very thin, which I wouldn't recommend using thin fabric, but some fabrics need a little bit more stability, but I really don't think that you need both. So on both of my fabric samples here, I only used batting. And the batting that I prefer for these is a polyester blend because I wanted it to be have some loft. So this is an 80-20 polyester blend. It is by Fairfield World, which is the makers of Polyfill. So you can get it on Amazon. You can buy it at Michael's, Joann's. They have rolls of it. You can find an 80-20 blend really in any manufacturer. So if you have a preferred brand, then, go for it. But I like the loft that it gives. If you do not like loft, but you still want batting, then I would use the Quilter's Dream Select or Request. I believe Request is the thinnest that they make, but it will still give you that nice soft feel without having too much loft. If you are dead set on, I'm just going to use interfacing. The interfacing that I use is Thermoweb's version of SF101. It's called Soft, and I will link it below in the video, but I prefer that interfacing over SF101. And the reason is it doesn't wrinkle as much, and I feel like it's more stable than SF101. So that's the interfacing I use pretty much across the board. The only other interfacing I would use is the same by Thermoweb, and it is a non-woven, lightweight or medium weight fusible interfacing. It doesn't provide a ton of support, but if you just want a little bit of support, that's the way to go. Obviously, the woven is going to give you a lot more stability in your fabric. So again, neither of these have interfacing. We are going to go ahead and get into the strap in a whole other video. So we'll talk about that, specifically how to make a strap in that video, but you will need some hardware for your bags. all of these, again, I will link. I have them in numerous links on Amazon. I get all of my strap hardware from Amazon. It's because it's more affordable and I've never had a problem with it. So, but the zippers and the zipper pulls, I typically get all of those from zippervalley.com or My Handmade Space. But for these, they are both from Zipper Valley. So we just have a regular pull and size 5, the roller skate, which comes in various colors. So if you want actual roller skates, she also has like a daisy type looking flower that's really, really cute. So you're going to need basically a set. So 2 D-rings, 2 swivel hooks, and then you're going to need the strap. I don't know what this part's called, like the looper. And then obviously your zipper in whatever size, you know, you want to do a 3 or you want to do a size 5. So there are different hardware options. This is also nice because you don't have to put the strap in the bag while you're making it. We're going to use the sides here. So the other caveat to this bag is obviously the straps here. So again, we're going to go into how to make a strap and these connectors here. And there is a video already on how to make the strap out of webbing, which I'll share here. So if you want to use webbing, that one is already up. We're just going to discuss basically making a bias strap in a completely separate video. So your machine needs to be able to sew through these connectors here. So webbing here or fabric. So this can add some bulk. So you need to know what your machine will handle. So the webbing for me and the connectors are only slightly different in you know, what it adds to the sides, like bulk wise for me, because I use interfacing on my tabs. So again, you need to know your machine. If you're not sure, I would try out, you know, some webbing beforehand on maybe, you know, scrap fabric and see what your machine does. If your foot has an adjustable foot, you're going to be totally fine. The stitch length is adjusted for the connectors. So that way it's a little longer to accommodate for the bulk that you will be sewing over. And then you'll also need, if you make the fabric connectors, you're going to want to interface those. So you'll need the same interfacing that I discussed. If you decide to use just vinyl scraps, which a lot of people do, they just fold them over to create a tab, you're going to want to make sure that you interface those vinyl tabs. So after a lot of use, that vinyl tends to rip, and I've seen it happen across the board, really, even on glitter vinyl. It's just the constant pulling from wearing the purse that the vinyl can start cracking. If you use some interfacing, you can kind of deter that. You could also, I've seen people use the blank key fob file and make stitch 2 together and then fold it over. Just know that, again, that's going to create a ton of bulk. It might even be thicker than using just webbing. So go ahead and play with that. Again, this webbing is from Zipper Valley. They have cotton and they have like a nylon. They have some prints, all really fun. The webbing comes in 2 sizes, as does the hardware. So you have 1 inch, which is shown here, and then you have 1.25 inch. So make sure you are getting the size webbing that matches your hardware and also for the size that you want to make. So for the smaller bags, I used the 1 inch, and for the larger 2, I used 1.25 inch hardware and strap. So the last thing I want, two last things I want to discuss is the turn hole close of this bag. So we did update this bag to close differently, and the retro sun bag also is going to close differently. So we decided I absolutely hate closing holes of the turn hole on a curve, and this one is slightly curved as well. So what I did was the turn hole is actually on the top of the bag. So this doesn't really matter, but some people might not like that. So I want to make sure that before you buy this bag that you're aware of, let me see if I can turn this, where that turn hole is and how I closed mine. So you all know, if you've been here any amount of time, that I don't hand sew anything. Like, it is so rare that I hand sew. So you would think that that would be necessary for the top, but it really is not. So I close this just as I close all of my other bags. So you can see here is the turn hole, which we actually made a little shorter. So for testing, it was this long. We shortened it to about 4 inches across the board. So it is a smaller turn hole. The beauty of this one is it's not on a curve, which is so much easier. But when you turn the bag this way, you don't see anything. So when you're wearing the bag, you're looking down into the bag, right? Your person you gave it to, you can see where the turn hole is on some of these or where you've sewn it. This gets flipped and you really never ever see it because you're not looking up, right? So I used the Heat and Bond hem tape on mine, and then I also used the peel and stick, the Heat and Bond peel and stick. I don't know if it's hem tape, or I've used it on all of my bags and in videos. So you guys have seen it. I'll put it in the full bag video, but you can use that here, no problem. You can obviously hand stitch it if you want, but my hem tape with the iron worked just fine. It also worked. This is actually at the zipper, so this worked just fine. Look, you can't even tell that that is closed there, but because there is no top stitching, if I pull really hard, you can see, but that is closed at the zipper. So no turn hole inside, down at the bottom. It just looks so much nicer. So here's that top stitch, and on the back side there's no top stitch anyway, so you wouldn't know there wouldn't be one there. And I closed this with the hem tape, so I just lined that in there and pressed it and then used my iron to close it up. So I love it. I wasn't sure how it was gonna be received by the team, but they all love it and they think it just looks so much nicer and it is so much easier to close close the bags up. So we're going to go over one last thing. I'm going to pull my hoop over here so you can see it. I'll be right back. All right, so here I have an in-process bag. So I wanted to show you some points of how I put this together. And again, we're going to have a full video. So this is just a few things I wanted to point out beforehand. So the cut chart is doesn't give a ton of room for seam allowance. Typically we cut 2 inches larger than what you need to sew the design, but for this bag we are trying to keep the pattern pieces close to the edge to eliminate trimming and just make it a nice, more clean finish, less cutting. So you have the top, bottom, and both sides. So if you follow the cut chart, you're going to get very close, nice pieces. So if you are, just cutting as you go, that's fine. I love to do that. So one thing you're going to want to make sure that you do is you're going to have to trim the sides of the front of the bag before you attach the 2 side pieces here. And you're going to have to do that on the front and the back. So here's the back. You can see this fabric is cut to the size chart. So if you cut the fabric to the size chart, you have about a 1/2 inch seam allowance on either side. And if you follow that, you don't need to trim it. But if you, use whatever size you'd like, you're going to want to trim this down to at least a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then you can follow that with your side pieces and line them up nice and straight. So on the front, you're going to want to trim the zipper to the zipper at least 1/4 inch, because you don't want to have this bulky zipper in the side of your bag here, right? So 1/4 inch on this side, a 1/4 inch on that side. If it makes you feel better, you could attach the side, then trim the zipper. so you have some stitching over it. I did not have any issue with my zipper coming apart, so I trimmed beforehand. But again, you could attach your side just like I did here, then trim your zipper if you like. So the other thing I want to note is you're going to have to open your zipper before you do that. So typically we open the zipper before we put the back on, but this time you need to open it before you put your sides on. And then the last thing is I want to make note of, this will be in the PDF and on the video, but we're going to talk about it anyway. If you're using batting on this bag particularly, you want to keep the batting out of your top stitching. So sometimes people will take, and me too, will take the batting and the fabric and lay it together and attach and then flip it over. But if you see how thick that can be, and usually this doesn't really matter because you're only doing it, say, at the zipper. But because this bag has the top, the bottom, the sides, this is way too much bulk. Okay, so what I want you to do is on all the pieces, I want you to attach your fabric, the top of your fabric and the liner together. So the liner is attached, the top is attached. Run your tack down stitch for all of these pieces. Tack down stitch first, your fabric is right side down. Then what I want you to do is you're going to take your liner piece, because this is going to get finished up at the same time. You're going to fold your liner piece over and make sure that's nice and secure, okay? You come back to the top. I want you to lay your batting, line it up to the edge of your tack down stitching here. Then flip your fabric over. Okay, and then secure that or just hold it while it's going to top stitch. So what it's going to do is the stitching is going to start here and it's going to top stitch, and then it's going to continue and tack down this whole side piece at once. So now you only have 2 layers of batting here versus possibly 3 layers of batting. So it just makes it way less bulky. Plus when you have the zipper and the liner, it's just a little too much. So make sure you do that on all of the pieces, and it will definitely be worth it. It's just going to be a nice, far less bulky bag. With interfacing, I wouldn't really worry about it. It doesn't really add all that much bulk to fold it over. If you want to keep the interfacing out of your top stitching, what you'll want to do is when you apply the interfacing, go ahead and leave yourself at least, a 1/4 inch to maybe a 1/4 inch of clear fabric here, then apply your interfacing. And that way, when you tack it down, you can tack it down on just the fabric and then fold it over. But that's personal preference. I know in bag making, when you're using sewing patterns, a lot of times they want you to keep the interfacing out of the seam allowance. But for this, I didn't find it made really all that much of a difference. So, all right, I think we touched on everything. Again, this is coming out Friday. Full tutorial will be available Friday morning at 8 a.m. when everything launches. And then the following Tuesday, I'm going to go into how to make a fabric strap. So again, there is a video on how to make a webbing strap. And then on Tuesday, we're going to do fabric. And then by then I ordered some rivets. So we're going to discuss rivets and webbing and some other hardware. If you cannot wait to make a fabric strap, until I do that video, we do have a video in our Facebook group that's a little bit longer that goes over fabric strap making. So you can always stop in there or just wait till Tuesday and we'll have a whole another tutorial. And also Julie is off this week. So Tutorial Tuesday typically would be a live, but she is not going to be live. She is still wrapping up all the stuff for her shop grand opening. And so you've got me for the next 3 videos. Okay. So let me know what you think, and hopefully I will see tons of these bags this weekend and you will be ready to go. See ya.